After the recent Bitcoin crash, the prices continue to look quite weak. However, as we approach one of the most important weekly candle closes we've had this entire cycle, the short time frame charts are showing increasing signs for a trend reversal. Are we finally going to bounce here? Let's dive into the charts and find out. Welcome back to the channel, guys. If you're new here, hi, my name is Jess, and as the channel name suggests, it's all about crypto, trading, and technical analysis. So if you're all about that or you'd love to learn, hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. Okay guys, so I'm going to start off today's video by diving right into the short time frame and just doing a really quick recap of that last video to just give some directional context. So 4 days ago when I made that video, we were traveling in a parallel descending channel. So that's that channel here that I've drawn out. And I said that on our very last retest, on our 5th retest of a descending channel, we should see a breakout. And so a breakout of a downtrending channel should be upwards. And we moved to our next level of resistance at $69,000. So that is this range here from 68.3 to 69. Now, if we take a look at the RSI, we had a local downtrend. So that downtrend coincided with the parallel channel that we were traveling in, and it went something like this. So upon the break of that momentum downtrend, we flipped that shorter time frame, super short time frame momentum narrative. We moved upwards to test that next momentum narrative. So that was this higher time frame downtrend here, marked by the red line. And I said if we failed to break through the slightly higher time frame downtrend, we would also fail to break through that next level of resistance at $69,000. And unfortunately, that is what we saw. So we take a look here at that peak, $69,000, and we failed to break through. So we're right back where we are in terms of levels of resistance as we were in my last video. So $65,000 is still currently our level of resistance, and the level of support is still that really key level at $60,000. So in my last video, I said if we lose $60,000, it would mean a huge correction downwards. So it would be a massive continuation of our downwards move. And if we pull up the VRPV, we can have a little bit of a look. We'll get rid of the green so you guys can see a bit easier. And just zoom out a fair bit. So if you take a look at the peaks on the VRPV, you can see that our next level of key support is here at $52,000. So if we lose the $60,000 level and have a strong push downwards, we will move immediately to fill that next level. We have a massive gap here in the volume, right? Because of this price action here. We have a small level of support here at $57,000, but really if it's a strong move, it's not gonna be able to absorb all of that selling pressure and push us back upwards. The next really key level that we have is all the way down at $52,000. So if we lose that 60K level and we continue back and we continue downwards and continue to fail to break through this downtrending RSI, we will see let's have a look from where we are currently, potentially another 20% drop in the price of Bitcoin. However, I did start off this video by saying that we were seeing increasing signs of strength. So let's go into all of those indicators and signs right now. So we already know our key levels here. So we already know 65K is our main level of resistance. If we break above that, that should signal a continuation back upwards. So we should go back upwards and test our next level of resistance. And then we know 60 is our main level of support. And if we break that, we go back downwards. So the main level or the main sign of strength that we're seeing is really in these structural patterns that Bitcoin is forming. So we know previously we were in a downtrend, and we are still in a downtrend, yes, but the downtrend has shifted. So while we're still forming lower highs, the upper downtrend is less steep than the base downtrend here, right? And so we're actually forming what's called a broadening descending. Oh guys, I keep mixing it up. It's descending broadening wedge, but I keep saying broadening descending wedge. You guys get it. So I'll just quickly write it. Descending broadening wedge. Right? And that is a bullish consolidation pattern. So generally they have a higher chance of breaking out upwards than they do of breaking downwards. Okay. And the main reason why the shift in the downtrend is so important is because momentum is still going down. So we think about the price of Bitcoin like a dam, right? And momentum, or is the reflection of the selling and the buying changes, is like rain. So this major downtrend in momentum is still here, right? So we're still raining, the dam is still filling up. However, it's filling up because of the shift in the downtrend, it's filling up more slowly, right? So this rain is having less of an impact on the capacity of the dam. So we're going down less steeply. We've tested a level of resistance. So previously in my last video we were at $65,000. We tested a new level of resistance at $69,000, and the downtrend has shifted to be less steep, right? So that is a sign of strength. It's a sign that on the shorter time frames, we are starting to see a little bit of absorption of all of the selling pressure, right? It's having less of an effect on the price action. So we're traveling in a positive consolidation pattern that has a high chance of breaking upwards than it does of breaking downwards. We are seeing signs of bearish absorption finally. So the pressure of this momentum, this downwards momentum is affecting the price less. And we can also see, if we zoom out just a little bit more, we can stay on the 4-hour time frame. You can also see it on a daily chart as well if you want to zoom out and make it easier for yourself. This final test this most recent test of $60,000, or the base of that parallel channel, actually formed our third validation point for our high time frame uptrend, right? So that is actually a good thing, because now we know, despite all of this negative price action, despite this crash, despite this deviation above to $73,000, the overall narrative on the higher time frame, on the daily chart, is still positive, right? We're still traveling in an uptrend. And we also have a confluence point, right? So we have, when we lose this uptrend, we lose this level of support. So we have structural confirmation and horizontal confirmation that we're going downwards. So that is a surefire sign that we should see $57,000 and at the most $52,000, right? And we also know, while we're traveling upwards, trend is your friend until it ends. And so while we're traveling above the uptrend, or we'll continue to validate the uptrend, we should break through this broadening wedge pattern upwards and continue upwards as per the trend line. So now we know what we need to see on these shorter time frames to confirm a continuation upwards and the end of this entire rejection from $73,000. Now let's start to talk about time frames, because that's really where the critical position of Bitcoin really lies. It's in that time frame. Because if we go over to the weekly chart, we only have 1 day left for literally the most critical weekly candle close we've had since this entire cycle, right? And the reason why I say that is because this weekly candle will pretty much determine whether or not we are going to bounce and continue upwards back into price discovery and have our bull run, or whether or not we form an engulfing candle and continue downwards to our next level of support. So $60,000, and like I said, remember, if we lose $60,000, we end up risking having another 20% correction to $52,000, right? And that would be absolutely devastating. We could correct all the way back down to these base levels here. So this weekly candle close is extremely important, and we've got just over 24 hours. So Monday morning, tomorrow, if this weekly candle close is not at least within this range here, we're in some trouble. So let's talk about that really quickly. So there's a couple things to really look out for in terms of the weekly candle. So first of all, obviously, that really bearish scenario, if we form an engulfing candle, meaning we drop below the opening price for this green candle here at $63,000, we're in trouble. So we go, that is our trigger for a continuation downwards if we lose, that $60,000 level on the short time frame, right? So that would be really, really negative, okay? Because on the weekly chart, if we have a bearish engulfing candle, that means that we're going to go lower, right? So that increases, it really, really increases our chances of losing that $60,000 level. Now, in terms of a more neutral position, right? We have a weekly candle close level. So that is at $65,000. So if we have a weekly candle close within this range here, $65,000 to $69,000, that is considered, right? So that tells us, okay, look, we haven't had a massive trigger downwards. We've managed to hold this level here, right? And it is holding as a level of support. So we should bounce here and continue back upwards. But it's not necessarily confirmation that we're going to continue back upwards just yet. It's not a bullish trigger and it's not a bearish trigger. So it's neutral territory. So going back to the short time frame charts, right? This area is bullish. Oh no, bearish. So we'll do BR. This area is neutral. So if we break even, so like I said, even if we break this broadening descending wedge and we just test this next level of resistance and we just do that, it's still neutral. It's still fine. It's not a bearish sign. Again, we're still above major uptrend. Now, if we have a candle close above $69,000, now that becomes a bullish trigger. So we will do BL. So this is BR and that's BL. And that would mean that we continue back upwards, back to test $73,000 and potentially a continuation of our price discovery. So as of where we are right now, I think that would be pretty optimistic, to say the least. What we really need to see is a candle close above this level here to confirm a neutral stance on the weekly chart. And a neutral stance on the weekly chart is still bullish on the shorter time frame chart, on that daily chart here. So that is really what we need to see, and we've only got a short amount of time to do it. Now, if we zoom out a little bit more onto the monthly chart, we can see we are only 8 days away from the monthly candle close. 8 days, guys. I feel like I've been talking about the monthly charts for ages, and it feels like it's been 20 days away, 2 weeks away, but it's literally a week away. And we need to see on the monthly charts a candle close above this level here, so that all-time high monthly candle close at $61,000. Okay, so on that weekly chart, like I said, if we get that candle close below 65K, 65, that red box, we're in trouble, right? So it really highly increases our likelihood of going downwards on the weekly chart to at least $60,000, that level of support on the short time frame, 60K, right? Which means that we would actually be below this level that we're trying to see on the monthly charts, that's $61,000. Okay, so if that happens in the next week, so our weekly candle close tomorrow, if it is below $65,000, which we are currently below, if it's below $65,000, we should very likely see a continuation to $60,000, and in that week get our monthly candle close below 61K. Now the reason why that is so bad is because if we zoom in a little bit more, we can see that what we would end up doing is forming a lower high on the monthly chart, right? So that means a downtrend on the monthly chart, guys, which is quite dramatically bearish, right, on a high time frame. So let me just, not a steep downtrend, go something like that, right? And so that further exacerbates the potential for a complete delay in the bull run. Now, that's not necessarily doom and gloom. I'm not saying we're not going to get one. We are really ahead of schedule. If we look at historically the 4-hour cycle and the time frames of the 4-hour cycle, we are way ahead. We're a whole month ahead of where we should be. Generally, we don't even test key levels of support like this or the previous all-time high until after the halving event. And the halving event is a whole month away, right? So this ETF news and the recent economic position of the markets, with the pause in interest rates, the potential for a reversal, the ETFs coming out, it's really pushed the price of Bitcoin a lot quicker than we were expecting. But, where now our positions have changed, right? As this has happened, we've shifted in our narrative. We think, okay, well, there's a bull run that's going to happen and maybe a little bit earlier this year. If we get a monthly candle close below $61,000 and we form that lower high, there is a really strong chance that that entire idea has evaporated and we continue maybe potentially into that original 4-year cycle plan of seeing a test for all-time high and a break of all-time high after the halving event. So just definitely something to consider, something to keep your eye on. That weekly chart is very, very critical. We really need to see a break into that neutral territory on Monday morning. Alrighty guys, that is the end of the analysis for today. I'm sorry that it got a little bit doom and gloomy back there in that monthly chart. But look, like I said when I started this video, we are looking better on the short time frames, right? So we're consolidating in a positive pattern, that broadening descending wedge. We are starting to absorb some of that bearish momentum, and we're still in an uptrend on the daily chart, right? We're still in a daily chart uptrend, and the trend is your friend until it ends. We're not going to see $60,000 until we lose that trend line. So really, there's no need to panic. Things are still okay. We are just in a really critical position, which is what I wanted to point out. So if you enjoyed today's video or you learned something, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel down below. And if you want to see more of my content, I do have a free Telegram channel where you guys can sign up for daily Bitcoin updates as well as crypto and economic news. If you're interested in my VIP channel, you can check out more details over here. VIP gives you exclusive access to my personal trade setups with exact entry points, stop losses and targets, as well as trade justifications and a risk management and trading journal. If you are a trader and you want 15% of your trading fees, sign up down below to BitGet and BingX. They are two of the world's top 10 exchanges, and BitGet is available to everyone outside of the US and Singapore, and BingX is available non-KYC and worldwide. I hope you guys have a really great week, and I will see you next time. Bye!